played. I thought our defense, especially the left side of the infield, was clean and made some very nice plays. Low D's, 4 or 5 really, really solid defensive plays, backhand stuff, good. The double play to end it was really exciting. You don't see that type of play often. Dingus, the moment in the game that there was a lot hanging out there, and you could tell we were not sharp early. Their freshman arm did a nice job, but that was a key moment. I mean, that grand slam is huge. It's a fun thing. It's a momentum changer, game changer, and his at-bats were good really all day. Tibbs had some good at-bats. The slide at home plate, Cam, that was just a unique. To come watch that stuff happen on the field, you don't get to see these things. They're rare. Saucer's going to find it. I told him after the game, right on this mound that we're all looking at in this stadium, he's been good against our hitters, and we just have to get him to walk out there and feel comfortable in the environment that's present when you're playing in this stadium in a game versus a scrimmage. We saw Abraham come in. I think he punched out the side in the 3rd inning. That seemed to get us going a little bit. We responded with the 5 in the 3rd. Rowan, we saw some flashes of it. We're just trying to harness how he pitched early, where it was a little more explosive, but better today. Tejeda had some good sequences today. The slider was good. I thought the fastball velocity was better. And Dennison got the ground ball. I think offensively there was enough. Like when you stack the at-bats, really started with the walk. I think West walk, and then Farrow had a good at-bat, and then Diamez, it was nice to see the base hit bunt, and then Tibbs walk. But Marco changed it for us with that swing. And just proud. Like defensively, I think that was the thing. All of these games have personality to them. They played a nice defensive game, so did we, but that kept the momentum and kept things clean for us, and we didn't put ourselves in a lot of trouble that we created today. I thought we executed enough on the mound and defensively to keep them at bay.
With Marco and James, just the combination of power and bats a ball, just the low rate of Ks for both of them, just how impressive is that?
You don't see that often at any level, and they're different. Like their styles are different, their technique is different, but they're dangerous in so many different ways. They both use the field well, they can adjust to secondary pitches well, they can handle the velocity, so they're good hitters, and you've continued to watch them just develop and learn and grow, and there's a lot of good baseball ahead for both of them, but that's good. And I think overall the at-bats with this group, when you look at how they've matured with the at-bats and the length of the lineup, when everybody can give you a sense of their best, it's a nice looking group, the lineup wise, but those two in the middle, and when Ferrer's on it and Max Williams is on it and Cantu has moments, it can be dynamic, but those two clearly have shown a propensity to manage the zone and still deliver with some thought.
So the school record 9 grand slams for this team. I guess it just speaks to getting guys on base and having power in the lineup, but can you say anything about just guys coming through those situations?
Well, I think there's a heightened sense of I can do a lot here. So I think you see your good hitters really hone in, knowing that this is a moment where I can really maximize some things. And we are physical enough. If you're not hitting them over the fence, there's not going to be grand slams. So you have to have the physicality to do that kind of damage, but the frequency with which we've had that kind of traffic kind of goes back to my point today with how that started. It started with some really good at-bat walks that put you in position. So I didn't know that stat. That's really cool, and it does say a lot about the overall offensive makeup of the group. That's a neat stat.
Another stat, another game with the stolen base. Just thoughts about what Cam just bringing to say with his speed and just getting into the second base.
He's got it all. You know, we're seeing a much better approach at the plate. We've seen him hit balls all over the stadium. You know, it's interesting, the last 3-4 games, like the left side of the field has been in play for him, where we saw the bulk of the season from right center field to the right field line is where he did it. So he's got everything you could ask for, including the speed. And when he gets going, he's rolling. Like, it's fun. When he opens it up, he can't open it up going home to first off him, but when he's underway, going first to third or scoring from first or second, it's a really fun athlete to watch. And I thought the slide was really cool to watch that.
Just the athleticism of that. Does he surprise you with things he does sometimes?
Yes, I think the base running, there have been moments where I just see him becoming a player within the games and reading things and seeing things, and just the art of the slide itself, and then to have the savvy to kind of slide past that and reach back and touch on plate. I mean, it's hard to practice that kind of thing. And some of the base running moves he's made and decisions he's made this year have stood out. And I've talked about him with the team in right field. Like, there's several times he's done some really heady, smart, calm within the moment of running the bases. So he just continues to stack parts of his game, and it's a complete package.
Coach John Abraham, how important was it for him to lengthen out today and then also get that breaking ball going as well?
Yeah, we needed that. Like, it was right. I told Mike after the first inning, it's important that we saw that, because his last couple of little stints were not that. And we'd seen him do that a good bit. Unfortunately, this past weekend, it wasn't quite like that. So it was good for him. It was good for us to see that again, to know that he's back on the horse and had the command of that thing. And he threw some good fastballs. Micah has a good sense of the timing, and I think Micah puts himself in the opponent's shoes a little bit of when I need to maybe get off that for a pitch or two to try to reset their timing. And John did a good job responding to that.
Have you guys made a minor tweak to Hudson's mechanics, just with the hand coming out of the glove a little bit earlier?
Hudson kind of took that upon himself. And some of these young guys are learning. It feels different. Like, think about these games some of these freshmen have pitched in. Some of the most significant crowds and environments in the history of this program. And they're out in the middle of it. So I think finding what seems to work there versus when you're throwing a bullpen or you're in a scrimmage, that's maturity. And he's working through some things. Some of that is him feeling it out, and maybe some of it's over the top with what he's trying to do to just, we've seen you really good with what you were doing. But I think, like with Saucer and the younger guys, it's a feel thing of what that feels like when you're dialed up and the adrenaline's going and you're right in the thick of it. So it's a learning process.
Coach, you mentioned it a little bit already, but Diamis Ross, his first start in a little while. What did you see from him, and then what do you think his role is going forward?
I love the bunt. He actually hit the other two balls. I think the sac fly, he hit it pretty good, and the ball he hit to lead off the game was pretty good. Diamis needs to be hitting the ball in a line and on the ground and getting on base. I thought his at-bats were better. We have a talented group, and today it lined up. Ferrer's beat up. He's gotten hit in the hand, stepped on. So it worked today to get Diamis, and I thought this game lined up with how you analyze their team with the bunting and the running game. We didn't get into the running game a whole heck of a lot, but he got his bunt, and it was good to see him back in there. There's not a better kid in any program than Diamis, and I wanted him in this game today, and it worked out. He and I both would wish some of those at-bats were a little better, but he had some good at-bats, and he hasn't been in there a lot, so I thought it was a positive step for him.
And you expect Jaime to be, this will help him?
I think Jaime will be okay. He's just beat up. He got stepped on, I can't remember, was it the Mercer game? There's some weird stuff, and he's gotten hit. He hangs in there, and he gets hit. So that's not pleasant, and sometimes when it's getting you in that same spot, it can be tough. So he took BP and could have played. But we kind of got to a point where it just seemed like this is a good one for Diamis to play, knowing he's a very capable top of the order player, it was no big deal really.